Britain faces a crossroads. The rise of the far right is a chilling echo of the past. But there is hope. A new generation of anti-racists is rising. They are taking to the streets. They are challenging hate. They are reclaiming public spaces. Their message is clear. Racism has no place in our society. These activists understand the urgency of this moment. They see the danger of complacency. They know that silence equals complicity. Their energy is infectious. Their commitment is unwavering. They are the voice of a generation demanding change. This is not just about marches and protests. It's about dismantling systemic racism. It's about challenging prejudice in all its forms. It's about creating a society where everyone feels safe and valued. The fight for racial justice is a fight for the soul of Britain. This new movement is a beacon of hope in dark times. It is a powerful reminder that change is possible, but it cannot happen without sustained effort. We must all play our part in building a more just and equitable society. The recent surge in hate crimes is deeply concerning. It is a stark reminder that the ghosts of Britain's past still haunt us. For many minority communities, this is not a new experience. They have long endured prejudice and discrimination. The scars of history run deep. From the Notting Hill riots to the murder of Stephen Lawrence, Britain has witnessed the devastating consequences of racial hatred. The current climate feels eerily familiar. The rhetoric of hate is back. We must learn from the mistakes of the past. We cannot allow ourselves to become complacent. The fight against racism is far from over. It requires constant vigilance and action. We must challenge racism wherever we see it. We must remember that hate thrives on silence. We must speak out against injustice. We must stand in solidarity with those who are marginalized. We must break the cycle of hate. The time for action is now. The aftermath of 9/11 saw a sharp rise in Islamophobia. Muslims were scapegoated and demonized. This climate of fear and suspicion persists today. Islamophobia is an insidious form of racism. It targets Muslims based on their religion. It manifests in many ways. From verbal abuse to physical violence, Muslims face discrimination in all aspects of life. They're often portrayed as a homogeneous group. Their voices are silenced. Their experiences are ignored. The media plays a dangerous role in perpetuating Islamophobia. Muslims are often portrayed as a threat to British values. This narrative is false and harmful. It creates division and distrust. It fuels prejudice and discrimination. We must challenge Islamophobia wherever we encounter it. We must amplify the voices of Muslim communities. We must stand up for a society that values diversity and inclusion. Silence is not an option. Multiculturalism is under attack. Once celebrated as a strength, it is now demonized by some. The far right exploits anxieties about immigration and identity. They peddle a divisive narrative of us versus them. This rhetoric is dangerous. It seeks to divide communities and undermines social cohesion. It creates a climate of fear and suspicion. It emboldens those who seek to spread hate and violence. We must defend multiculturalism. It is an essential part of British society. It enriches our culture. It strengthens our economy. It makes us a more vibrant and dynamic nation. We must celebrate our differences. We must learn from each other. We must build bridges of understanding. Multiculturalism is not a threat. It is our strength. Section 5, the media's role, fanning the flames of intolerance. The media has a responsibility to report fairly and accurately, yet too often it fails to do so. Sensationalist headlines and biased reporting fuel prejudice and discrimination. They create a distorted view of reality. The portrayal of Muslims in the media is particularly concerning. Muslims are often portrayed as a monolithic group. Their voices are rarely heard. Their stories are often told through a narrow lens. This type of reporting is irresponsible and dangerous. It reinforces stereotypes and prejudices. It creates a climate of fear and suspicion. It makes it harder to challenge discrimination and promote understanding. The media must do better. It must promote responsible reporting. It must challenge stereotypes. It must amplify the voices of marginalized communities. It must be part of the solution, not the problem. Section 6, online hate, a breeding ground for extremism. The internet has become a breeding ground for hate. Social media platforms are awash with racist and discriminatory content. Extremist groups use these platforms to recruit members and spread their hateful ideology. The anonymity of the internet emboldens perpetrators. They feel less inhibited about expressing their hatred. They know that they are less likely to be held accountable for their actions. This creates a toxic online environment. The consequences of online hate are real. It can lead to offline harm. It can incite violence. It can create a climate of fear and intimidation. It can silence dissent and stifle free speech. We must tackle online hate. Social media companies must take responsibility for the content on their platforms. They must remove hateful content. They must cooperate with law enforcement. They must create a safer online experience for everyone. Section 7. A call to action protecting our communities. The government has a duty to protect its citizens. This includes protecting them from hate and discrimination. The government must take concrete steps to address the root causes of extremism. This includes tackling poverty and inequality. It includes promoting social cohesion. It includes investing in education and opportunity. It includes creating a society where everyone feels valued and respected. The government must also do more to support victims of hate crime. It must ensure that they have access to justice. It must provide them with the support they need to rebuild their lives. The fight against hate is a collective effort. It requires the government, civil society, and individuals to work together. We must all play our part in creating a more just and equitable society. Section 8. Education and dialogue. Building bridges of understanding. Education is a powerful tool in the fight against racism. It can help to challenge stereotypes and prejudices. It can promote empathy and understanding. It can empower individuals to become agents of change. We need to educate young people about the history of racism and discrimination. We need to teach them about the dangers of prejudice and intolerance. We need to equip them with the skills and knowledge to challenge racism in all its forms. Dialogue is also essential. We need to create spaces where people from different backgrounds can come together and share their experiences. We need to listen to each other and learn from each other. Through education and dialogue, we can build bridges of understanding. We can create a more tolerant and inclusive society. We can break down the walls of prejudice and hate. Section 9. Keir Starmer's challenge. A defining moment for Britain. Keir Starmer faces a defining moment. He has the opportunity to set a new course for Britain. He can choose to be a leader who unites the country and confronts the challenges of our time. He must make it clear that there is no place for racism and discrimination in our society. He must take concrete steps to address the root causes of extremism. He must stand in solidarity with marginalized communities. This is not just a matter of policy, it is a matter of principle. Keir Starmer must show moral leadership. He must send a clear message that Britain is a country that values diversity and inclusion. The world is watching. Keir Starmer has the opportunity to make Britain a beacon of hope in a world increasingly divided. He must seize this moment. Section 10. A future free from fear. Embracing our multicultural society. Imagine a Britain where everyone feels safe and valued. A Britain where diversity is celebrated and embraced. A Britain where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential. This is the Britain we must strive to create, a Britain free from fear and discrimination. A Britain where everyone feels a sense of belonging. A Britain that lives up to its values of fairness and equality. This will not be easy. It will require courage, compassion, and determination. But it is a fight worth fighting. For our children, for our future, for the soul of our nation, let us build a Britain where everyone can thrive. A Britain that is a beacon of hope for the world. A Britain that is truly multicultural and truly great. Section 11. The time for complacency is over. A call for action. The time for complacency is over. The fight against racism is far from won. We must all play our part in creating a more just and equitable society. We must challenge racism wherever we see it. We must stand in solidarity with those who are marginalized. We must amplify the voices of the oppressed. We must never give in to hate or despair. Hope lies in action. Let us channel our anger into action. Let us turn our outrage into activism. Let us build a movement for change that is too powerful to be ignored. The time is now.
So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and let's turn the page on a new adventure together. Get ready to experience books like never before, only on VBook 360. Like, comment, and share to support the channel and keep the video magic alive. Thank you for stopping by. And remember, every video has a story, and every story deserves to be shared. See you in the next video.